Hi, so you probably clicked on this video because you want to know a little bit more about the bare ACL surgery versus the regular, probably patellar grafted ACL reconstruction. And maybe you've done some research, or maybe you've done no research and you found this video first. I will tell you that the point of this video is to basically give an intro. This is my first video on this topic, or in general, kind of about anything. So I am happy to basically walk you through my whole journey, and we can experience this all together, or you can maybe find a video down the road about things that more, specifically interest you, and hopefully I make them. So basically, I want to start out with explaining why I did the bare surgery over the patellar surgery. And this may or may not be a really good reason, but depending on who's, listening. But for me, it was kind of worth it, because essentially I won't go into detail about how the injury happened, but I will go into detail specifically about how I was diagnosed, how long it took, and what brought me to this place. So this is the section before, this is leading up to diagnosis, making of the decision cut place. Okay, so I was initially injured on February 12th, 2024. Yeah, that's it. And I immediately went to the emergency room because walking around, I felt really unstable. It was painful when it happened, but it wasn't painful after. But I couldn't walk so easily. I could have fallen without any crutches or anyone helping me. So I went to the hospital and I got an x-ray. After a long time waiting, I got an x-ray, and from there the doctor basically, I also had some head injuries, visible, it looked like I had some concussion or anything like that. I also went in for that, and then when I was seen by the doctor really shrugged it off, sort of didn't think it was a big deal. Basically told me to come over, and I was like, I can't walk, I need help. And they were like, oh, and they seemed a little confused. They looked at my knee, they looked it over, and they told me that I was just fine. Okay, by the way, I live in Toronto, Canada, and I obviously have my own gripes with the healthcare system here, and it will definitely be brought up sporadically, periodically, throughout this process of how Canadian healthcare has failed me a number of times. So in case you're Canadian and you want to maybe avoid these, I have some tips and tricks for you, or things that you can maybe ask your doctor and not go through what I went through. So the doctor tells me that I'm basically going to be fine. Don't worry about it, you'll be fine. And I took it to heart when my doctor from the ER told me after an x-ray, which later I found out wasn't enough to actually properly diagnose what was wrong with me. And yeah, he told me that was fine. And later, maybe about a month later, March, later, about a month, I would kind of beat myself up over the fact that I didn't go to a physio appointment or any specialized doctor to find out what was wrong with me. And in hindsight, after beating myself up over it, I realized the reason why I didn't do it is because that doctor who was watching over me basically told me that I was gonna be fine. Just kind of wait it out, it'll heal, you'll be fine. Obviously that mentally put me at ease, but at the same time, when I wasn't getting any better, I actually had to go do something about that. And I was really upset with how that was handled, because I could have been a month earlier overall with everything. So when I finally went to the PT physiotherapist, I had insurance, but they booked me for PT, which honestly I didn't think I needed, especially since I was so soon after my injury. It was more about being diagnosed. So that was out of pocket, but covered by insurance from my employer. And that at that stage, my PT also misdiagnosed me. I immediately wanted an MRI, like 1,000%. I wanted an MRI. I wanted to know what was wrong with it. Obviously, the X-ray wasn't enough. Whatever, right? I needed it. And in Canada, at least in Toronto, Ontario, they will try and do everything in their power to not give you an MRI. They will try every trick in the book to not book you an MRI because there's not enough MRIs to go, and it's only for people who really need them, and it's a long wait. Like we don't have to wait that long, because when he looked at my knee and he diagnosed it from just moving it around. And I know there's certain different maneuvers and tests and sort of PT exercises that you could do to sort of decide whether or not your ACL is ripped, wink wink, or your meniscus is the problem. And I guess he was doing those, and he told me, like, yeah, we don't really need to look inside. We already know what it is from the outside, from your symptoms. Like, we can diagnose you. And I was like, okay, fine. Diagnose me. And he diagnosed me incorrectly and said that my meniscus was damaged, was torn, and that it takes 3 months to heal. And I was, what am I supposed to say? I guess I was, okay, it's my meniscus. So for the next 4 months, I was told, so convinced that it was my meniscus. And from that point on, I actually didn't want to keep paying out of pocket. So I was like, let me get a doctor that's covered by the country, and it's not going to cost me $150 each time I have to visit them. No matter how sporadic or how infrequent it was going to be out of pocket. I didn't want it to be like that. And I also wanted someone who really knew what they were doing, like an actual doctor. I'm sorry, physiotherapists, but it was a win-win. And so when I finally saw a doctor, he said the same thing. He didn't want to send me out. And he also said that I should wait 3 months. First, they said basically the first 3 months post-op. So that was including the month I didn't do anything about it. The first 3 months post-injury is like the bones are bruised, everything's kind of damaged, everything needs to sort of heal, and after 3 months, then we'll review how we're feeling. And during these 3 months, I actually told my doctor many times that when I go up the stairs, it's actually it was very unlikely that when I was going down the stairs, but when I was going up the stairs, that I would get a strong pain in my knee and in my leg. And there was a sense of that, like, I didn't understand, but especially when I was wearing heavy boots, because it was, kind of the wintry months, that I would get a lot of pain. And what do you think happens when you go up the steps? Your, femur is separating from your tibia, like the bottom part of your leg. So there's space being added and therefore instability, right? So, but I don't know what is going on with my doctor or my one-time PT that I saw there. And no one connect. Like, I, as a non-doctor, not a doctor, would now in hindsight be like, obviously that's the ACL. I don't need an MRI to tell me that that's the ACL. Now, if some doctor here or PT would like to, clarify that that's a similar symptom to the meniscus, then fine. But there was a lot of bells ringing, especially since, of course, after a whole month, after the 3 months, I think it was either 3 months or a month after that, so 4 months post-injury, but my doctor said that if you don't start feeling better, or symptoms don't start going away 1 month after the 3 months, because I remember it was 3 months. So after 3 months, the next 3 months were supposed to be like healing a lot better, going back to normal, feeling back to normal. And it wasn't. After the 4th month, I really wasn't feeling good. I wasn't sure if it was getting worse, but it was just the same. Like, it was the same problem, and I had to stop playing volleyball, and I had to stop my whole like life. Ugh. I didn't expect to be this emotional. So I had to stop my whole life to basically start healing. So that every month that went past by was really tough for me to like switch my, pardon me, I'm still quite, it comes out of nowhere when I talk about it. Usually I'm fine throughout the days, but when I'm talking about it, this video in general, this video diary has been oddly, I guess I don't want to be reliving trauma, but I'm trying to share the experience for those who find themselves in that, of course. So I had to change my whole lifestyle slowly, quickly, and then I had to get used to it, and I was starting to get used to it. And after the 4 months, my doctor finally was like, okay, let's put you on the wait list for an MRI. And granted, he found some place that was, faster than the regular 2+ month wait, which would have put me, over 6 months post injury. And so we found something else. And during that time, that clinic that does MRI rescheduled twice, like canceled on me, and then like tried to change my date again. And by the way, like, I was planning on going to Italy, and I did go to Italy, and I was shocked that I couldn't get my results before I went to Italy, just so I could know what I'm dealing with, so I can, avoid re-injury or anything like that. But at the same time, I was feeling pretty good. Like, I could go up steps, I can go down steps, I could do a lot of things. I could be mobile. I can go dancing, that kind of thing. I just couldn't run or jump. I knew I couldn't run or jump. And after the MRI clinic had already pushed me, like twice, they were going to push me again, like past or during my trip. And at that point I was like, hey, like, you need to, I'm leaving, I won't be around, like, I need this. So they tried to make it work, and then I went to go do the MRI. And I didn't know what my results were until I got back from Italy, which was quite a, I think it was about 2 weeks ish, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. And when I got back, I had an appointment with my doctor, and my doctor finally said I had some good news and bad news. I was like, oh yeah, what is it? And they said that, lo and behold, my meniscus was spotless. It's gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a full thickness tear ACL. And I was like, I didn't know how to really take that information, except for that I'm happy that I know what was wrong with me finally, and that we could do something about it. And the meniscus is not something that you operate on in Canada, but you do and can fix an ACL. So I guess the good news was that it was fixable, and that there was an opportunity to actually get somewhere concrete. So after that experience, I was then set to their in-office, favored surgeon, and I waited a little while to get that appointment, and I got that appointment. That sort of like, very easy, like, okay, yeah, your ACL is ripped, do you want to take surgery or not? Yes, no, all right, let's book you. And so I was booked in December. So I was injured in February, manhandled by the healthcare system forever, and then finally I had a solution ready to go, surgery, patellar graft, in December. And I was just sort of dreading it. I don't know. I this is the part that would probably confuse people, but from the nature of the injury as well, I just didn't think that I would be ever in a position where I had to take serious surgery on my knee. Like, I just didn't think that that was someone that, I didn't identify as someone who needed to do surgery on their knee. Like, I didn't know anyone in my life that had done that. Like, I just didn't understand why that was so serious. It went from a little meniscus is going to heal on its own to you're going to have serious knee surgery, and it's going to be a serious post-op rehabilitation. And everyone I told about the ACL, they were like, oh wow, yeah, that's going to be a lot. Oh yeah, you're going to go through. And I was just like, no, I didn't want that. Like, I didn't want that. And anyway, at that point, I was dreading it, and I knew it was coming up, and I just had to sort of take it on. Like, I didn't have any other options. This was the only option. And I just didn't understand why I couldn't just repair my original ACL. And it was really dawning on me. And when about over 3 weeks before the surgery, I was looking, dreadfully for crutches, getting prepared for this crazy large surgery that I didn't want to do. And I stumbled upon something that I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It just lit a fire on me, and I needed to find out. And this was the bare ACL alternative surgery that restores and does not reconstruct a brand new ACL from a graft ligament on your leg. And what was crazy about this is that when I was looking through it, I couldn't believe my eyes. So I needed to research as much. I needed to see as much people that had done it. I wanted to know how old was it? Like, how come I didn't hear about this? Why did my surgeon not mention this? And I felt really, really excited. And the first thing I realized, well, actually, it wasn't the first thing, but it was one of the bigger realizations, is that no one in Canada does the surgery. Actually, in fact, no one in the world is licensed and allowed to perform the surgery other than the US. And I know a lot of people, I'm a little of a kooky person, so I'm not going to get into what kind of kooky, but you can maybe start connecting the dots here. But I'm someone who's like, I wanted to do that thing that could help me, and like most people would not go for it because of the uncertainty. Like, they would be uncertain of the results, and they would be uncertain of, like, it's by the way, it's a completely different surgery, but also it's so much more expensive. Especially as a Canadian, you're going out of pocket. That sort of out of pocket problem I was talking about, that's the thing that I had to decide whether or not I can do it, should do it, worth doing it, that kind of thing. So that's the whole story, more or less, from when I got injured to the point where I became aware of the bear technique. If you want to follow along and hear the rest of the story, which is maybe the more pertinent part to what you're here for, feel free to watch the next video, and I'll see you there.